On June 6th, 2008, one of, if not the most infamous Abridged series was started by the incredibly talented and hard-working TeamFourStar. Fast forwarding to February 2020, and despite the announcement that the series has been cancelled and therefore ended, there are still millions of fans of Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and the series is still very much beloved. While the series does start off as goofy and just a joke collection of videos, the series eventually evolved into its own actual series, using the Dragon Ball story and characters to create its own. I began to rewatch the series just for fun, right? And the Discord server, I requested that I power scale the series, as there are several different, differences between that and the canon timeline. And I naively thought that, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And yeah, it was really hard to sit through hours upon hours of content I've already seen before. Honestly, if it wasn't funny, I probably would have went insane. So I'm going to be going over everything from the original series, movies, shorts, cell games, interviews, specials, Kai, and the Home for Infinite Losers series. I will be going over absolutely everything that isn't in the original Dragon Ball series. I originally planned for this to be a video covering absolutely every single feat and ability that's shown, so that if someone wants to know exactly how powerful the verse is, they could just reference this video. However, not only would this video be long enough as it is, but you guys voted for me just to cover the exclusive feats, so thank you. I've already went clinically insane as it is. I do have an old video on the channel, Powerscaling Dragon Ball Z, which mostly applies to Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and while I don't agree with half, I'd probably say, the stuff I'd say in that video, it's still okay enough, if you know what I mean, to get a general baseline for stuff. There will be some exceptions for some feats I'll bring up, but I'll cover why as I go along. So, if you enjoy this video, then make sure to like, subscribe. I'll be displaying these feats and abilities in chronological order in the timeline, mostly, and let's get on with this mammoth of a video. Starting things off, before the series technically starts, in the Bardock special, this random alien dies to a Saiyan who can apparently light them on fire, either meaning that Saiyans have fire manipulation, or just this Saiyan specifically does. The only other notable thing from the other Bardock special is that Bardock is heavily implied to be able to eat one of the aliens without needing to be cooked or anything. Well, yes, this special was just a dream that Gohan had. It is quite consistent with Saiyans being able to eat some pretty insane things across the series, with Goku wanting to eat a dragon and being able to eat muffins that are durable enough to survive Namek exploding. The calc for this feat is equal to 943 megafo, or solar system level. This feat is originally anime only, so the canonicity can be questioned, but as this is Dragon Ball Z Abridged, it is canon to this continuity, meaning that Saiyan Saga Goku would be capable of eating muffins that can tank a solar system level explosion. Skipping the Dead Zone movie, as there's nothing really notable that we don't already know, right into episode 1, a farmer almost immediately knows that Raditz is an alien, either giving him some all-knowing knowledge or he's just that good at guessing and has seen aliens before. Master Roshi displays transmutation, being able to turn his drinks into other drinks on command and being able to even change the glass as well. According to Goku, the Dragon Balls can grant any wish as well. We'll come back to that. Raditz displays minor fourth wall breaking as their voice actors fight mid-episode, pausing it entirely to, have another series staple with people shouting very, very loud, with Raditz being able to have a full conversation with Piccolo despite being so far away. You could argue in this instance it's due to Piccolo's insane hearing, but we'll learn later on that affects other characters too, such as on Namek when Vegeta hears Krillin screaming from the other side of the planet. You have some other statements and events, such as Raditz thinking that turtles could destroy the planet, and Krillin getting hit so hard by Raditz it begins a Krillin-owned counter. In the Kai version, Raditz actually hits Krillin so hard it explodes the Krillin-owned counter, and by the very end of the series, Krillin and Android 18 destroy it together by having intercourse, as you do. This either grants them just advanced fourth wall breaking or just straight up makes them outer-versal, which is a bit of a stretch for this feat, but it is actually quite consistent with other feats that I'll show later on. Moving on to Goku and Piccolo versus Raditz, we first learn that Raditz and Goku are complete idiots, and Goku displays an absolutely insane pain tolerance, having his ribs broken and still being able to walk around and even still talk with a hole in his chest momentarily. This is consistent later on, with the Vegeta fight having all of his bones crushed and was still relatively alright. The first instance of Raditz being a weakling is brought into question when Gohan uses the move Headbutt and it's super effective, like it's a Pokemon move. The move Headbutt is a normal type move, and the normal type moves are not super effective on literally anything. So Raditz is somehow so weak that even normal attacks are quite the detriment to him. Vegeta and Nappa are also stated to be 10 times stronger than Raditz, and during the Z Fighters versus Nappa and Vegeta fight, Nappa is the equivalent of 5 Raditz, while Vegeta is the equivalent of 15 Raditz. Once Piccolo kidnaps Gohan, despite being 2 years old, having no training and no rage amps, he survives being thrown into the side of a mountain. The next feat, however, is one of the most intense statements we have this early on in the series. You see, Raditz canonically beat the crap out of King Yama. King Yama has a desk at his disposal which is made of fire-breathing alien wood and is also made up of blood rituals and can manipulate the fabric of the universe itself, being nigh indestructible. King Yama has access to something which can manipulate the fabric of the universe, yet Raditz still beat the fuck out of him. This can place Raditz Universal, and pretty much every other character from here on out at Universal. If you have Raditz at Universal, of course, this is not that different, like for at least scaling, not that important, but it does mean that pretty much everyone else in the series is as strong as this. On topic of the characters in Otherworld, King Kai is stated to be the greatest martial artist in the galaxy. This is an even more impressive statement when you consider the fact that Dragon Ball universes are made up of 4 main galaxies, which would make King Kai the best pound-for-pound fighter in the quarter of the universe. King Kai also has access to the internet with his antenna, meaning that he gets access to a lot of knowledge whenever he wants to, along with a lot of hentai. After this, we are introduced to Mr. Popo. According to Mr. Popo's pecking order, he holds Kami above Tien, Krillin, Yamcha, Yajirobe, and Chiaotzu, and he is above Kami. Kami later is stated to have omnipotence, which, if we take at face value, then Mr. Popo is outright beyond omnipotence, making him boundless in power, and he does have another boundless feat later on, so it wouldn't be too inconsistent to have Kami at omnipotent levels of power by this logic. However, the fact that Kami can die could mean that he isn't truly omnipotent. But hey, I mean, if you believe Kami's omnipotent, go ahead. Mr. Popo is narratively basically God in this series, so it doesn't really matter too much. He holds himself in a higher regard than an omnipotent being, but also Mr. Popo is the master of Shenron, who, as we already said, can grant any wish. He one-shots several of the characters casually, and even took over the PC of the video that it was being edited on, and attacked or at least scared the editor himself, being another boundless feat. Mr. Popo also has the ability to instill fear into anyone just with his name alone. He can seemingly hear anything that goes on anywhere in the universe, outright hearing and reacting to things that Piccolo says during the Saiyan fight, and stuff that Krillin says on Namek, and can tell when he dies. Something related to Shenron that's different to the canon series is that Shenron outright has the power to kill Vegeta and Nappa, and just doesn't. Something quite random as well is the fact that the Justice League are canon to Dragon Ball Z Abridged, with Superman, Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and several other heroes admitting that they cannot defeat Nappa and Vegeta. Considering how strong DC characters can be scaled to, you can argue this is even more outer-versal evidence for Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Going on to the Nappa and Vegeta fight, it's revealed that Piccolo is 1.1 Raditz in terms of power, and Gohan and Krillin are worth 0.8 and 0.9 of Raditz, though Vegeta later debunks this, however, as they can just lower their power levels. Nappa also thinks that Chiaotzu is a Pokemon, which means that Pokemon could very well exist within Dragon Ball Z Abridged, which is further backed up by the fact that Nappa throws a Pokeball at Chiaotzu, and in the Cell games much later on, Ash shows up to fight Cell, and Cell doesn't even know what they are, to be fair. Back on topic, Krillin uses his Limit Breaker to one-shot 3 Cybermen, and it's revealed that Nappa has a PhD, somehow. And across, in the afterlife in Hell, Raditz hears their conversation. Again, somehow. Oolong displays the ability of being able to talk to the TV show host despite being in the comfort of Kami House. Interestingly, Krillin and Piccolo both have Shadow Clone no Jutsu, implying they have some level of chakra manipulation, which comes with a lot of any other abilities. Vegeta is also shown being able to have an aneurysm due to exposure to a lot of stupidity, and it can also tell the timing of the video, which is another fourth wall breaking feat. Nappa also has the ability to briefly get googly eyes and lipstick, because why not? Goku then shows up and is confirmed to have a power level 9001, which is actually higher than the canon series. It's also revealed that if you crush all of Goku's bones, they squeak. And Goku's also displayed the ability to telepathically talk to Gohan and Yajirobe, and can eat an entire Saiyan. Or Yajirobe can do that at least. The finale of Season 1 doesn't have that much new stuff. Vegeta compares his attack to a Big Bang-like explosion, which is more evidence for universal characters, and King Kai could talk to the narrator, who knows the entire story, and later on, in episode 13, Krillin also talks to the narrator. In the Kai overview of this story, it basically has Piccolo and Vegeta opening up the episode. During the World's Strongest movie, it's revealed that Shenron can also grant people abilities, such as the ability to melt ice. The Z-Fighters are also able to fight inside of Wheelo's base, which is stated to be even colder than the coldest place on Earth, giving them resistance to extreme temperatures. In the Christmas Tree of Might movies, Turles eats all of the joy from Earth and is only defeated after Santa spoke to Goku. Yeah, I don't have anything to add to this. Vegeta's also aware of the canonicity of the movie, and Ghost Nappa can multiply himself. Going on to the next season, Goku shows that even after being poisoned, he can recover just fine, and Mr. Popo can turn the sky red, either giving him some level of reality warping or perception manipulation. Mr. Popo's carpet is capable of teleporting and is fueled by souls, and he knows how Krillin's going to die. The Namekian ship is capable of flying from Earth to Jupiter in the span of 2 seconds, yet it would take a few weeks to get from a month to Namek. This therefore means that the ship is able to fly at over 1,000 times faster than light. And something off topic, Vegeta knows exactly how to take an organ from someone specifically. Yeah, that's cool as well. There's not much else that occurs until episode 17, where the concept is introduced where a character opens up an episode, giving them fourth wall breaking. Across the entire series, this applies to Zarbon, Vegeta, Galdo, Recoome, Berter, Jace, Ginyu, Super Kamiguru, Nail, Dende, Krillin, who actually talks to the editor of the series, Frieza, the Turtle, Garlic Jr., Bulma, Mecha Frieza, King Code, Yamcha, who does it twice and is aware he's done it twice, Android 19, Yajirobe, Dr. Zero, Chi-Chi, Korin, Oolong, Kame, Android 16, Piccolo, Master Roshi, Son Goku, Dr. Briefs, Android 17, Cell, Baby Trunks, Android 18, Son Gohan, Future Trunks, Mr. Satan, Jimmy Firecracker, and Larry the Fire Guy. The camera guy, why did I say fire guy? Beyond that, there's not much exclusive to Dragon Ball Z Abridged here, beyond the fact that Chi-Chi is still powerful enough to castrate Krillin. After this episode, Vegeta shows even more fourth wall shenanigans, being able to make a crowd in the background laugh at a joke that he made, and then screams so loud that it can be heard across the planet, space, Yenma's office, and the future itself. Firstly, his scream is so loud it reaches the afterlife, which is stated to be a higher dimension in Daizenshu, if you believe it to be valid here. Not to mention that his scream is able to cross literally to another timeline in the future within a finite amount of time, meaning that Vegeta's scream would be moving at immeasurable speeds, and if you think that Vegeta himself scales to this, then Vegeta would of course have immeasurable speed. This is actually more impressive in the Kai video, as Vegeta screams so loud that it causes the computer itself the episode's being made on to crash. At lowest, this is just insane fourth wall level stuff, but it's also more arguments for high outerversal to boundless levels of power for our Abridged characters. Moving on, Super Kamiguru dispenses the ability to sense other people from space with extreme accuracy, with the Ginyu Force having Broadway Force, Galdo having the ability to summon steamrollers and being able to stop time like Dio, which Gohan actually figures out instantly after seeing it being used once. Recoome displays expertise in hand-to-hand combat, being a 5-time world champion in wrestling, and Jace and Berter have a move called the Seizure Procedure, a move that causes a large flash of light which, if someone looks at for too long, can give them a seizure, which Goku actually resists. Moving on to something that's probably exists in the canon series but we don't actually really know, is the fact that the Namekian regeneration is capable of regenerating an arm up to 25 times in quick succession. In episode 25, another of the staples of the series is introduced, with Piccolo having multiple consciousness inside of his head. It starts with Nail and later on gets to Kame during the Cell saga, who both also have access to the internet as well, meaning that he could have protection from the likes of mind and soul-based attacks. Frieza also has some level of Broadway Force, being able to turn the entire screen black and white by singing, and then the Kai has invincibility with the Superstar from Mario. Frieza also displays being able to get 1-ups, which later on in the Totally Not Mark interview with the DBZ creators is revealed that it actually worked canonically, when Goku failed to kill him with the Spirit Bomb and with the Super Saiyan form. There's also some random stuff, such as the inhabitants of Frieza Planet 419 being able to see into the future, Namekians having a very different physiology, Bulma being able to drink a ton of salt water and just being completely fine afterwards, Goku biting Frieza causing the screen to shatter, and Goku and Goku's brain seemingly being different entities. King Kai is also strong enough to one-shot the entire Ginyu Force, sending them to hell. And one of the most other bizarre feats happens in the show when Frieza tanks lightning sent by God himself. Now, this implies it's not Kami or King Kai, so it's either Beerus, who is confirmed canon in Dragon Ball Z Abridged, or the omnipotent god of religions, which would be even more evidence for boundless Dragon Ball Z characters. In part 3 of the finale, some other stuff is introduced. Firstly, King Kai can interact with the narrator, who is implied to know everything that happens in the show. Kami is stated omnipotent, and Guru can stop his own heart, and can sense Nail within Piccolo's head. Chi-Chi gives off a dark presence, and Godzilla might be canon to Dragon Ball Z Abridged, which throws a whole other scaling chain into the mix. Moving on to the next arc, Krillin shows some level of body control, elasticity, and minor toon force, being able to extend his jaw so long it actually hits the floor. In the Kai version the episode is based on, Mr. Popo is confirmed to have created the Blackwater Mist, which can turn people into zombies. Gohan is also confident that the Great Yeti Star will be a problem as long as Piccolo's around, meaning that if you heavily lowball him to oblivion, Piccolo would at least be star level here. Krillin knows that the Kai version of this episode, the main version of the episode, didn't happen in Dragon Ball Z Abridged as well. Garlic Jr. is capable of summoning the Dead Zone, a different dimension, and Alucard from Hellsing just shows up to pop Garlic Jr. out with his gun, which is then revealed to be a dream, but I figured I'd mention it in case people wondered why I cut it out. Anyways, it's revealed that Bulma's mother canonically can't see and does not age. Bulma herself is still strong enough to rip off Yamcha's ear. Frieza himself is apparently skilled enough to fly spaceships, and Vegeta's shirt's capable of changing, words on the back of it between shots. And in the Cooler movie, Mr. Popo can recreate the sun. Cooler then returns as Metacooler, and no matter how intense the injury, is capable of healing himself. Android 19 displays the ability to see probability itself, can absorb life energy, and Vegeta has enhanced fear manipulation, being able to make Android 19 feel fear, despite the fact that that's literally not even programmed into it.
Quite the cutting-edge piece of tech you got there. But I'm curious, can it feel fear?
Scanning. Processing. Results inconclusive.
Let's fix that, shall we?
Tien is also confident then in defeating Dr. Gero, considering he's stated stronger than Frieza, even in this continuity. Tien would be outright saying he's strong enough to fight someone stronger than Frieza. Mr. Popo can also take a gallon of LSD and survive. Gohan is an expert detective, and Piccolo is aware that he needs character development. And Mr. Popo also refers to it as this scene in the Super Android 17 movie, in the Super Android 17 movie is capable of erasing Gohan or Goten from existence by hitting Goku in the schnoz. In episode 45, Goku throws Chi-Chi into space, she catches fire and still survives. The hyperbolic time chamber is described as a different dimension, which can make Vegeta's screaming even more impressive with the size of this macrocosm. Trunks even describes this room as seemingly infinite, and Mr. Popo doesn't know what happens within the chamber as well. Hell, it's even described as a magical reality outside of space-time as well. Android 16 has information analysis and can tell that Kami has fused with Piccolo as well. Vegeta can perform the Shoryuken, and Cell can literally talk out of his ass. Bulma can also feel Cell transforming from ages away. Trunks' aura is capable of electrocuting Krillin, and the Super Saiyan Grade 3 multiplier is actually given statistics unlike in canon, where it gives a 50% power increase but a 75% decrease to speed and mobility. The Broly movie is also canon. While it doesn't really add anything new, it does make the feat of suppressed Broly destroying South Galaxy canon, which is 1/4 of the universe. The plan to eradicate Christmas, however, does have some other things. Firstly, Trunks' blood is capable of purifying people, Goku is a threat to the universe, and Evil Santa is capable of creating gifts out of midair. Not to mention that Trunks' time travel messed up the space-time continuum as well. Before the Cell games, Cell gets visited by many different people with many interesting feats. Firstly, Cell can erase planets from existence, which could imply existence erasure, and he isn't surprised by a UU character being able to slice through dimensions. Cell's also aware when the art style changes in Cell vs Ryu and Ken, and is also capable of occupying multiple spaces at once with sheer speed alone, giving him infinite speed at least. He also has access to the Chaos Emeralds. The Chaos Emeralds can warp reality, stop time, and could do much, much more. Watch my Mario vs Sonic video if you want to see more on that. I cannot be bothered going through the entire list again. Cell also survives having his durability negated several times with his regeneration at least, and can survive fire attacks, and Deadpool shows up to break the fourth wall. X-Men are also canonically existing within Dragon Ball Z Abridged, more specifically Wolverine and Phoenix, which just adds even more outer scaling if you use comic scaling for Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Moving on to the main series, Cell has technology manipulation and Mr. Popo can still one-shot Vegeta even now. Mr. Satan can apparently move faster than light, and Trunks can grow out his hair at great lengths at sheer will. Chi-Chi is also strong enough to castrate Super Saiyan 4 Goku, so she might actually be one of the strongest in the series. Into the finale, or the final finale, Android 16's bomb is stated to be nuclear, giving him radiation manipulation and could also shatter cells. Cell even believes it's powerful enough to kill him as well, and 16 is confirmed to not have a soul, meaning he would not be affected by soul manipulation. Cell is also confirmed to have ageless immortality, and when Krillin and Android 18... bang, they destroy the Krillin-owned counter, either being an outer feat or just being fourth wall breaking, depending on how you look at it. Cell is also capable of breaking the fourth wall in the Kai version of this episode, outright, or also Mr. Popo calls the Spirit of Time the Room of Infinite bullshit, which is just more evidence for the room being infinite in size. This along with Android 16 having fourth wall breaking, and Alucard having fourth wall breaking as well. This is where the original series ended, but there is some other stuff to go over, such as in the shorts and the Home for Infinite Loser series. The script is being written on the 25th of December 2022. Yes, it's taken that long for the video to come out, so it will be outdated beyond this point in the future. So, to start, Baby Trunks is shown being able to fly, Android 18 does not need food to survive, and Piccolo can create beds. In Hell, the inhabitants of Hell have a bracelet which nullifies their ki, but despite that, several people have many abilities such as Goldo's telekinesis and time stop. The ogres are capable of breaking the fourth wall, and keyless Raccoon can still cause explosions, and people in Hell do not need to eat, while Ginyu is extremely stealthy. So how powerful is Dragon Ball Z Abridged? Well, even low-balling characters should at least reach universal levels of power, allowing them to solo many popular animes such as One Punch Man, Mob Psycho, and My Hero Academia. Mid-balling characters can reach outer-versal, which is a pretty wild sentence to say, which is enough to solo about 99% of fictional verses, with a higher-end scaling placing them at boundless levels of power, which will require them to either beat or stalemate almost any fiction at all. Speed-wise, they should at least scale to their canon counterparts with some immeasurable speed arguments as well. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe. This video took a fuck ton out of me, so I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.